Hello again, my friends. It's Indiana Homes for Story Time. And tonight we continue with The Seven Dials Mystery by Agatha Christie. We begin tonight with chapter 24, Bundle Wonders. There was no doubt that Superintendent Battle was taken aback. He fingered his chin thoroughly. Sir Oswald is right, Battle, said George. This is the man. Any hope of catching him? There may be, sir. It certainly looks suspicious. Of course, the man may turn up again at Chimneys. Do you think it likely? No, it isn't, confessed Battle. Yes, it certainly looks as though Bower were the man, but I can't quite see how he got in and out of these grounds unobserved. I have already told you my opinion of the men you posted, said George. Hopelessly inefficient. I don't want to blame you, Superintendent, but... His pause was eloquent. Ah, well, said Battle lightly, my shoulders are broad. He shook his head and sighed. I must get to the telephone at once. Excuse me, gentlemen. I'm sorry, Mr. Lomax. I feel I've rather bungled this business. But it's been puzzling, more puzzling than you know. He strode hurriedly from the room. Come into the garden, said Bundle to Jimmy. I want to talk to you. They went out together through the window. Jimmy stared down at the lawn, frowning. What's the matter? Asked Bundle. Jimmy explained the circumstances of the pistol throwing. I'm wondering, he ended, what was in old Battle's mind when he got Coote to throw the pistol? Something, I'll swear. Anyhow, it landed up about 10 yards farther than where it should have done. You know, Bundle, Battle's a deep one. He's an extraordinary man, said Bundle. I want to tell you about last night. She retailed her conversation with Superintendent. Jimmy listened attentively. So, the Countess is number one, he said thoroughly and thoughtfully. It all hangs together very well. Number two, Bower, comes over from Chimneys. He climbs into O'Rourke's room, knowing that O'Rourke has a sleeping draught administered to him by the Countess somehow or other. The arrangement is he is to throw down the papers to the Countess, who will be waiting below. Then she'll nip back through the library and up to her room. If Bower's caught leaving the grounds, they'll find nothing on him. Yes, it was a good plan, but it went wrong. No sooner is the Countess in the library than she hears me coming and has to jump behind the screen. Jolly awkward for her because she can't warn her accomplice. Number two pinches the papers, looks out the window, sees, as he thinks, the Countess waiting, pitches the papers down to her, and proceeds to climb down the ivy, where he finds a nasty surprise in the shape of me waiting for him. Pretty nervy work for the Countess waiting behind her screen. All things considered, she told a pretty good story. Yes, it all hangs together very well. Too well, said Bundle decidedly. Eh? Said Jimmy, surprised. What about number seven? Number seven, who never appears, but lives in the background. The Countess and Bower? No, it's not so simple as that. Bower was here last night, yes, but he was only here in case things went wrong, as they have done. His part is the part of scapegoat, to draw all attention from number seven, the boss. I say, Bundle, said Jimmy anxiously, you haven't been reading too much sensational literature, have you? Bundle threw him a glance of dignified reproach. Well, said Jimmy, I'm not yet like the Red Queen. I can't believe 6 impossible things before breakfast. It's after breakfast, said Bundle. Or even after breakfast. We've got a perfectly good hypothesis which fits the facts, and you won't have it at any price, simply because, like the old riddle, you want to make things more difficult. I'm sorry, said Bundle, but I cling passionately to a mysterious number 7 being a member of the house party. What does Bill think? Bill, said Bundle coldly, it's impossible. Oh, said Jimmy, I suppose you've told him about the Countess. He ought to be warned. Heaven knows what he'll go blabbing about otherwise. He won't hear a word against her, said Bundle. He's, so simply idiotic. I wish you'd drive it home to him about that mole. You forgot I wasn't in the cupboard, said Jimmy, And anyway, I'd rather not argue with Bill about his lady friend's mole, but surely he can't be such an ass as not to see that everything fits in. He's every kind of ass, said Bundle bitterly. You made the greatest mistake, Jimmy, in ever telling him at all. I'm sorry, said Jimmy. I didn't see it at the time, but I do now. I was a fool, but dash it all, old Bill. You know what foreign adventuresses are, said Bundle. How they get hold of one. As a matter of fact, I don't, said Jimmy. One has never tried to get hold of me, and he sighed. For a moment, the two were there in silence. Jimmy was turning things over in his mind. The more he thought about them, the more unsatisfactory they seemed. You say that Battle wants the Countess let alone, he said at last. Yes, the idea being that through her he will get at someone else. Bundle nodded. Jimmy frowned deeply as he tried to see where this led. Clearly, Battle had some very definite idea in his mind. Sir Stanley Digby went up to town early this morning, didn't he? He said. Yes. O'Rourke with him. Yes, I think so. You don't think... No, that's impossible. What? That O'Rourke can be mixed up in this in any way? It's possible, said Bundle thoughtfully. He's got what one calls a very vivid personality. No, it wouldn't surprise me if... Oh, to tell the truth, nothing would surprise me. In fact, there's only one person I'm really sure it isn't. Number 7. Who's that? Superintendent Battle? Oh, I thought you were going to say George Lomax. Shh, here he comes. George was indeed bearing down upon them in an unmistakable manner. Jimmy made an excuse and slipped away. George sat down by Bundle. My dear Eileen, must you really leave us? Well, Father seems to have got wind up rather badly. I think I'd better go home and hold his hand. This little hand will indeed be comforting, said George, taking it and pressing it playfully. My dear Eileen, I understand your reasons, and I honor you for them in these days of changed and unsettled conditions. He's off, thought Bundle desperately. When family and life is at a premium, all the old standards falling, it becomes our class to set an example, to show that we, at least, are unaffected by modern conditions. They call us the diehards. I am proud of the term. I repeat, I am proud of the term. There are things that should die hard: dignity, beauty, modesty, sanctity of family life, filial respect. Who dies if these shall live? As I was saying, my dear Eileen, I envy you the privileges of your youth. Youth, what a wonderful thing, what a wonderful word. And we do not appreciate it until we grow to, maturer years. I confess, my dear child, that I have in the past been disappointed by your levity. I see now it has but the careless and charming levity of a child. I perceive now the serious and earnest beauty of your mind. You will allow me, I hope, to help you with your reading. Oh, thank you, said Bundle faintly, and you must never be afraid of me again. I was shocked when Lady Caterman told me that you stood in awe of me. I can assure you that I am very humdrum sort of person. The spectacle of George being modest struck Bundle spellbound. George continued, Never be shy with me, my dear child, and do not be afraid of boring me. It will be a great delight to me, if I may say so. Form your budding mind. I will be your political mentor. We have never needed a young woman of talent and charm in the party more than we need them today. You may well be destined to follow in the footsteps of your aunt, Lady Caterham. This awful prospect knocked Bundle out completely. She could only stare helplessly at George. This did not discourage him. On the contrary, his main objection to women was that they talked too much. It was seldom that he found what he considered a really good listener. He smiled benignly at Bundle. The butterfly emerging from the chrysalis. A wonderful picture. I have a very interesting work on political economy. I will look at it now, and you can take it to Chimneys with you when you have finished it. I will discuss it with you. Do not hesitate to write to me if any points puzzle you. I have many public duties, but by unsparing work I can always make time for affairs of my friends. I will look for the book." He strode away. Bundle gazed after him with a dazed expression. She was roused by the unexpected advent of Bill. "Look here," said Bill. "What the hell was Cotters holding your hand for?" "It wasn't my hand," said Bundle wildly. "It was my budding mind." "Don't be an ass, Bundle." "Sorry, Bill, but I'm a little worried. Do you remember saying that Jimmy ran a grave risk coming down here?" "So he does," said Bill. "It's frightfully hard to escape from Cotters once he's got interested in you. Jimmy will be caught in the toils before he knows it, before he knows where he is." "It's not Jimmy who's got caught, it's me," said Bundle wildly. "I shall have to meet endless Mrs. Muckhattas and read political economy and discuss it with George, and heaven knows where it will end." Bill whistled. "Poor old Bundle. Been laying it on a bit thick, haven't you?" I must have done, Bill. I feel horribly entangled." "Never mind," said Bill consolingly. "George doesn't really believe in women standing for Parliament, so you won't have to stand on your platforms and talk a lot of junk or kiss dirty babies in Bermondsey. Come and have a cocktail. It's nearly lunchtime." Bundle got up and walked by his side obediently. "And I do so hate politics," she murmured piously. Or, actually, piteously. "Of course you do. So do all sensible people. It's only people like Cotters and Pongo who take them seriously and revel in them. But all the same," said Bill, reverting suddenly to a former point, "you oughtn't to let Cotters hold your hand." "Why on earth not?" said Bundle. "He's known me all my life." "Well, I don't like it." "Virtuous William. Oh, I say, look at Superintendent Battle." They were just passing in through the side door. A cupboard-like room opened out onto a little hallway. In it were kept golf clubs, tennis rackets, bowls, and other features of country house life. Superintendent Battle was conducting a minute examination of various golf clubs. He looked up a little sheepishly at Bundle's exclamation. "Going to take up golf, Superintendent Battle?" "I might do worse, Lady Eileen. They say it's never too late to start, and I've got one good quality that will tell at any game." "What's that?" asked Bill. "I don't know. When I'm beaten, if everything goes wrong, I turn to and start again." And with a determined look on his face, Superintendent Battle came out and joined them, shutting the door behind him. Chapter 25. Jimmy Lays His Plans. Jimmy Thesiger was feeling depressed, avoiding George, whom he suspected of being ready to tackle him on serious subjects. He stole quietly away after lunch, proficient as he was in details of the Santa Fe boundary dispute. He had no wish to stand on examination on it this minute. Presently, he hoped would happen came to pass. Lorraine Wade, also unaccompanied, strolled down one of the shady garden paths. In a moment, Jimmy was by her side. They walked for some minutes in silence, and then Jimmy said tentatively, "Lorraine?" "Yes." "Look here, I'm a bad chap at putting things, but what about it? What's wrong with getting a special license and being married and living together happily ever afterwards?" Lorraine displayed no embarrassment at the surprising proposal. Instead, she threw back her head and laughed frankly. "Don't laugh at a chap," said Jimmy reproachfully. "I can't help it. You are so funny." "Lorraine, you are a little devil." "I am not. I'm what's called a thoroughly nice girl. Only to those who don't know you, who are taken in by your delusive appearance of meekness and decorum. I like your long words, all out of crossword puzzles. So educative. Lorraine, dear, don't beat around the bush. Will you or won't you?" Lorraine's face sobered. It took its sarcastic appearance of determination. Her small mouth hardened, and her little chin shot out aggressively. "No, Jimmy, not while things are as they are at present, all unfinished." "I know we haven't done what we set out to do," agreed Jimmy, "but all the same, well, It's the end of a chapter. The papers are safe at the Air Ministry. Virtue is triumphant, and for a moment, nothing doing. So let's get married, said Lorraine with a slight smile. We've said it. Precisely the idea. But again, Lorraine shook her head. No, Jimmy. Until this thing's rounded up, until we're safe. You think we're in danger? Don't you? Jimmy's cherubic pink face clouded over. You're right, he said at last. If that extraordinary rigmarole of bundles is true, and I suppose incredible as it sounds, it must be true, then we're not safe till we've settled with number 7. And the others? No, the others don't count. It's number 7 and his own ways of working that frightens me. But I don't know who he is or where to look for him. Lorraine shivered. I've been frightened, she said in a low voice, ever since Jerry's death. You needn't be frightened. There's nothing for you to be frightened about. You leave everything to me. I tell you, Lorraine, I'll get number 7 yet. Once we get him, well, I don't think there'll be much trouble with the rest of the gang, whoever they are. If you get him, and I suppose he gets you. Impossible, said Jimmy cheerfully. I'm much too clever. Always have a good opinion of yourself. That's my motto. When I think of things that might have happened last night, Lorraine shivered. Well, they didn't, said Jimmy. We're both here, safe and sound, though I must admit my arm is confoundedly painful. Poor boy. One must expect to suffer in a good cause. And what with my wounds and my cheerful conversation, I've made a complete conquest, Lady Coote. That is, of Lady Coote, I have made the conquest. Oh, do you think that important? I've an idea it may come in useful. You've got some plan in your mind, Jimmy. What is it? The young hero never tells his plans, said Jimmy firmly. They mature in the dark. You're an idiot, Jimmy. I know. That's what everyone says, but I can assure you, Lorraine, there's a lot of brain work going on underneath. Now, what about your plans? Got any? Bundle suggested that I should go to Chimneys with her for a bit. Excellent, said Jimmy approvingly. Nothing could be better. I'd like an eye kept on Bundle anyway. You never know what mad thing she won't be up to next. She's so frightfully unexpected. And the worst part is, she's so astonishingly successful. I tell you, keeping Bundle out of mischief is a whole, full-time job. Bill ought to look after her, suggested Lorraine. Bill is pretty busy elsewhere. Don't you believe it, said Lorraine. What? Not the Countess, but the lad's potty about her. Lorraine continued to shake her head. There's something there. I don't know quite what it is. I don't quite understand. But it's not the Countess with Bill. It's Bundle. Why, this morning Bill was talking to me when Mr. Lomax came out and sat down by Bundle. He took her hand or something, and Bill was off like a rocket. What a curious taste some people have, observed Mr. Thesiger. Fancy anyone who was talking to you wanting to do anything else. But you surprised me very much, Lorraine. I thought our simple Bill was enmeshed in the toils of the beautiful foreign adventuress. Bundle thinks so, I know. Bundle may, said Lorraine, but I tell you, Jimmy, it isn't so. Then what's the big idea? Don't you think it's possible that Bill is doing a bit of sleuthing on his own? Bill? He hasn't got the brains. I'm not so sure. When a simple muscular person like Bill sets out to be subtle, no one ever gives him credit for it. And in consequence, he can put some good work in. Yes, there's something in that. But all the same, I never thought I'd fall for it. Not of Bill. He's doing the Countess's little woolly lamb to perfection. I think you're wrong. You know, Lorraine, the Countess is an extraordinarily beautiful woman. Not my type, of course, put in Mr. Thesiger hastily, and old Bill has always had a heart like a hotel. Lorraine shook her head unconvinced. Well, said Jimmy, have it your way. We seem to have more or less settled things. You go back with Bundle to Chimneys, and for heaven's sakes, keep her from poking about in that 7 Dials place again. Heavens knows what will happen if she does. Lorraine nodded. And now, said Jimmy, I think a few words with Lady Coote would be advisable. Lady Coote was sitting on a garden seat doing wool work. The subject was a disconsolate and somewhat misshapen young woman weeping over an urn. Lady Coote made room for Jimmy by her side, and he promptly, being a tactful young man, admired her work. Do you like it? Said Lady Coote, pleased. It was begun by my Aunt Selina the week before she died. Cancer of the liver, poor thing. How beastly, said Jimmy. And how is the arm? Oh, it's feeling quite all right. Bit of a nuisance, though. You know. You'll have to be careful, said Lady Coote, in a warning voice. I've known blood poisoning to set in, and in that case, you might lose your arm altogether. Oh, I say, I hope not. I'm only warning you, said Lady Coote. Where are you hanging out now? Inquired Mr. Thesiger. Town or where? Considering that he knew the answer to his query perfectly, he put the question with a praiseworthy amount of ingenuousness. Lady Coote sighed heavily. Sir Oswald has taken the Duke of Alton's place. Leatherbury. You know it, perhaps? Oh, rather. Topping place, isn't it? Oh, I don't know, said Lady Coote. It's a very large place, and gloomy, you know. Rows of picture galleries with such forbidding-looking people, what they call old masters, are very depressing, I think. You should have seen a little house that we had in Yorkshire, said Mr. Thesiger. When Sir Oswald was playing Mr. Coote, such a nice lounge hall and cheerful drawing room, with an inglenook, a white-striped paper, with a frieze of wisteria I chose for it. I remember. Satin stripe. You know, not moire. Much better. I always think the dining room faced northeast, so we didn't have to put up with much sunlight, but with a good, bright scarlet paper and a set of those comic hunting prints, why, it was as cheerful as Christmas. In the excitement of these reminiscences, Lady Coote dropped several little balls of wool, which Jimmy dutifully retrieved. Oh, thank you, my dear, said Lady Coote. Now, what was I saying? Oh, about the houses, yes. I do like a cheerful house, and choosing things for it gives you an interest. I suppose Sir Oswald Coote will be buying a place of his own one of these days, suggested Jimmy, and then you can have it just as you like it. Lady Coote shook her head sadly. Sir Oswald talks of a firm doing it, and you know what that means. Oh, but they'd consult you. It would be one of those grand places, all for the antique. They look down on things I call comfortable and homey. No, but that Sir Oswald wasn't very comfortable and satisfied in his home always, and I dare say his tastes are just the same underneath, but nothing will suit him but the best. He's got a wonderfully and naturally. He wants something to show for it. But many's the time I wonder where it will end. Jimmy looked sympathetic. It's like a runaway horse, said Lady Coote. Got the bit between its teeth, and away it goes. It's the same with Sir Oswald. He's got on, and he's got on, till he can't stop getting on. He's one of the richest men in all of England now, but that does not satisfy him. No, he wants still more. He wants to be, I don't know, whatever he wants to be. I can tell you, it frightens me sometimes. Like the Persian Johnny, said Jimmy, who never went about wailing for fresh worlds to conquer. Lady Coote nodded acquiescence without much knowing what Jimmy was talking about. What, I wonder, will his stomach stand it? She went on tearfully. To have him an invalid with his ideas, oh, it won't bear thinking of. He looks very hearty, said Jimmy, consolingly. He's got something on his mind, said Lady Coote. Worried. That's what he is, I know. What's he worried about? I don't know. Perhaps something at the works. It's a great comfort for him having Mr. Bateman, such an earnest young man and so conscientious. Marvelously conscientious, agreed Jimmy. Oswald thinks a lot of Mr. Bateman's judgment. He says that Mr. Bateman is always right. That was one of the worst characteristics years ago, said Jimmy feelingly. Lady Coote looked around slightly puzzled. That was an awfully jolly week and weekend I had with you at Chimneys, said Jimmy. I mean, it would have been awfully jolly if we hadn't been for poor old Jerry kicking the bucket. Jolly nice girls. I find girls everywhere, said Lady Coote. Not romantic, you know. Why, I embroidered some handkerchiefs for Sir Oswald with my own hair, and then when we were engaged. Did you? Said Jimmy. How marvelous. But I suppose girls haven't got long enough hair to do that nowadays. That's true, admitted Lady Coote. But oh, it shows a lot in other ways. I remember when I was a girl, one of my young men picked up a handful of gravel, and a girl who was with me said at once that he was treasuring it because my feet had trodden on it. Such a pretty idea. I thought, though it turned out afterwards he was just taking a course in mineralogy, I do mean geology, at a technical school. But I liked the idea, and stealing a girl's handkerchief and treasuring it, all those sort of things. Awkward if the girl wanted to blow her nose, said the practical Mr. Thesiger. Lady Coote laid down her woolwork and looked searchingly but kindly at him. Come now, she said. Isn't there some nice girl that you fancy, that you'd like to work and make a little home for? Jimmy blushed and mumbled, I thought you got on very well with one of the girls at Chimneys that time. What was her name? Vera Devontree? Socks. They do call her that, admitted Lady Coote. I can't think why. It isn't pretty. Oh, she's a topper, said Jimmy. I'd like to meet her again. She's coming down to stay with us next weekend. Is she? Said Jimmy, trying to infuse a large amount of wistful longing into the two worlds. Yes, would you like to come? I would like to come, said Jimmy heartily. Thanks ever so much, Lady Coote. And reiterating fervent thanks, he left her. Sir Oswald presently joined his wife. What has that young jackanapes been boring you about? He demanded. I can't stand that young fellow. He's a dear boy, said Lady Coote. And so brave. Look how he got wounded last night. Yes, messing around where he had no business to be. I think you're very unfair, Oswald. Never done me an honest day's work in his life. A real waster if there was any one. He'd never get on if he had to get out of his own way to make it in the world. You must have got your feet damp last night, said Lady Coote. I hope you won't get pneumonia. Freddie Richards died of it the other day. Dear me, Oswald, it makes my blood run. That is, run cold, to think of you wandering about with a dangerous burglar loose in the grounds. He might have shot you. I've asked Mr. Thesiger down for next weekend. By the way, nonsense, said Sir Oswald. I won't have that young man in my house. Do you hear, Maria? Why not? That's my business. I am so sorry, dear, said Lady Coote placidly. I've asked him now, so it can't be helped. Pick up that ball of pink wool, will you, Oswald? Sir Oswald complained, his face black as thunder. He looked at his wife and hesitated. Lady Coote was placidly threading her wool needle. I particularly don't want Thesiger down next weekend, he said at last. I've heard a good deal about him from Bateman. He was at school with him. What did Mr. Bateman say? He had nothing good to say about him. In fact, he warned me very seriously against him. He did he? Said Lady Coote thoughtfully. And I have the highest respect for Bateman's judgment. I've never known him wrong. Dear me, said Lady Coote. What a mess. It seems to have made things, of course. I should never have asked him if I had known. You should have. told me all this before, Oswald. It's too late now." She began to roll up her work very carefully. Sir Oswald looked at her, made as if to speak, then shrugged his shoulders. He followed her into the house. Lady Coote, walking ahead, wore a very faint smile on her face. She was fond of her husband, but she was also fond in quiet, unobtrusive, womanly manner, a wholly womanly manner, a way of getting her own way. Chapter 26. Mainly about golf. "That friend of yours is a nice girl, Bundle," said Lord Caterham. Lorraine had been at Chimneys for nearly a week, and had earned the high opinion of her host mainly because of the charming readiness she had shown to be instructed in the science of the mashie shot. Bored by his winter abroad, Lord Caterham had taken up golf. He was an execrable player, and in consequence was profoundly enthusiastic over the game. He spent most of his mornings lofting mashie shots over various shrubs and bushes, or rather essaying them to a loft, then hacking large bits out of the velvety turf, and generally reducing MacDonald to despair. "We must lay out our little course," said Lord Caterham, addressing a daisy, no less. A flower, that is. "A sporting little course. Now then, just watch this one, Bundle. Off the right knee, slow back, keep the head still, and use the wrists." The ball, heavily topped, scudded across the lawn and disappeared into the unfathomable depths of a great bank of rhododendrons. "Curious," said Lord Caterham. "What did I do then, I wonder? As I was saying, Bundle, that friend of yours is a very nice girl. I really think I am inducing her to take quite an interest in the game. She hit some excellent shots this morning, really quite good as I could do myself." Lord Caterham took another careless swing and removed an immense chunk of turf. MacDonald, who was passing, retrieved it and stamped it firmly back. The look he gave Lord Caterham could have caused anyone but an ardent golfer to sink through the earth. "If MacDonald has been guilty of cruelty to Coots, which I strongly suspect," said Bundle, "he's being punished now." "Why shouldn't I do as I like in my own garden?" demanded her father. "MacDonald ought to be interested in the way my game is coming on. The Scotch are a great golfing nation." "You poor old man," said Bundle. "You'll never be a golfer, but at any rate it keeps you out of mischief." "Not at all," said Lord Caterham. "I did the long sixth in 5 the other day. The pro was very surprised when I told him about it." "He would be," said Bundle. "Talking of Coots," said Sir Oswald, "plays a fair game, a very fair game. Not a pretty style, too stiff, but straight down the middle every time. But curious how the cloven hoof shows. Won't give you a 6-inch putt. Makes you putt it every time. Now, I don't like that." "I suppose he's a man who likes to be sure," said Bundle. "It's contrary to the spirit of the game," said her father. "And he's not interested in the history of the thing either. Says he just plays for the exercise and doesn't bother about the style. Now that secretary chap, Bateman, is quite a different story. It's the theory that interests him. I was slicing badly with my spoon, and he said it all came from too much of my right arm, and he evolved a very interesting theory. It's all left arm in golf. The left arm is the arm that counts. He says he plays tennis left-handed, but golf with ordinary clubs because there his superiority with his left arm tells." "And did he play very marvelously?" inquired Bundle. "No, he didn't," confessed Lord Caterham, "but then he may have been off his game. I see the theory all right, and I think there's a lot in it. Ah, did you see that one, Bundle? Right over the rhododendrons. A perfect shot. Ah, if one could be sure of doing that every time. Yes, Treadwell, what is it?" Treadwell addressed Bundle. "Mr. Thesiger would like to speak to you on the telephone, my lady." Bundle set off at full speed for the house, yelling, "Lorraine, Lorraine!" As she did so, Lorraine joined her just as she was lifting the receiver. "Hullo, is that you, Jimmy? Hullo, how are you?" Very fit, but a bit bored. How's Lorraine? She's all right. She's here. Do you want to speak to her? In a minute. I've got a lot to say. To begin with, I'm going down to Coots for the weekend, he said significantly. Now look here, Bundle. You don't know how one gets hold of skeleton keys, do you? Haven't the foggiest. Is it really necessary to take skeleton keys to the Coots? Well, I had a sort of idea they'd come in handy. You don't know what sort of shop one gets them at, do you? What you want is a kindly burglar friend to show you the ropes. I do, Bundle, I do. And unfortunately, I haven't got one. I thought perhaps your bright brain might grapple successfully with the problem, but I suppose I shall have to fall back upon Stevens as usual. He'll be getting some funny ideas in his head soon about me. First a blue-nosed automatic, and now skeleton keys. He'll think I've joined the criminal classes. Jimmy? Said Bundle. Yes. Yes. Look here, be careful, won't you? I mean, if Sir Oswald finds you nosing around with skeleton keys, well, I should think he could be very unpleasant when he likes. Young man of pleasing appearance in the dock. All right, I'll be careful. Pongo's the fellow I'm really frightened of. He sneaks around so those flat feet of his, you never hear him coming. And he always did have a genius for poking his nose in where he wasn't wanted. But trust to the boy hero. Well, I wish Lorraine and I were going to be there to look after you. Thank you, nurse. As a matter of fact, though, I have a scheme. Yes? Do you think you and Lorraine might have a convenient car breakdown near Leatherbury tomorrow morning? It's not so very far from you, is it? 40 miles. That's nothing. I thought it would be, to you. Don't kill Lorraine, though. I'm rather fond of Lorraine. All right, then somewhere round 12:15, so that they invite us to lunch. That's an idea. I say, Bundle, I ran into that girl's socks yesterday, and what do you think? Terence O'Rourke is going to be down there this weekend. Jimmy, do you think he? Well, I suspect everyone, That's what they say. He's a wild lad, and daring, as they make them. I wouldn't put it past him to run a secret society. He and the Countess might be in this together. He was out in Hungary last year, but he could pinch the formula any time. That's just what he couldn't. He'd have to do it in utter circumstances where he couldn't be suspected. But the retreat up the ivy and into his own bed, well, that would be rather neat. Now for instructions. After a few polite nothings to Lady Coote, you and Lorraine are to get hold of Pongo and O'Rourke by hook or crook and keep them occupied till lunchtime. See? It shouldn't be too difficult for a couple of beautiful girls like you. You're using the best butter, I see. A plain statement of fact. Well, at any rate, your instructions are duly noted. Do you want to talk to Lorraine now? Bundle passed the receiver tactfully and left the room. And that is all for tonight, my friends. We will continue the story tomorrow night. This has been Indiana Holmes. Love to you all, and good night.
Please hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notifications button. Thank you very much.